Welcome everyone to another edition of PAA Talks. Really excited today to have the new PYA president, Kostas Kambouris, who is with us today. We're really excited to have you here, Kostas. So congratulations and welcome to the
Thanks,
podcast.
Diane. I'm excited to be on PAA Talks.
It's great to have you here. We've been doing these talks for a while now. As many people know, we've been doing them on just as Zoom meetings, but then we decided to put them on Spotify and YouTube, and it gives you an opportunity to go back and listen to it whenever you'd like. And we hope to continue to bring you more interesting individuals and topics. So again, welcome. The podcast is brought to you by our friends Creta Authentica, so we want to thank them for their support. And I think we're just going to dive right in. So, Costa, first of all, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your involvement? I know that you're from Salt Lake City, for some of you that may not know that, but your involvement with the Manotavros youth of Salt Lake City, and really about your overall involvement with the PYA before you became president.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name's Costa. I'm the new, like Diane said, I'm the new PYA president. And very excited about my position, very excited about my board. I have been involved with the PYA like broadly since I could remember. My family has been involved in the PYA for as long as I can remember. My mom has served on multiple positions in our local women's chapter. My dad has served on the local men's chapter, and my grandfather was a big advocate of the PAA, and his siblings and my aunts still are, and still talk about the lifelong relationships and memories they have with the PAA. So I think that really is what kind of got me started. I kind of joke sometimes with my brother that it's like we didn't really have a chance, like we didn't really have like an opportunity to join or not. It was just like that's what we did. But I'm really glad that's what we did because I've made just lifelong friends in the PAA that I still talk to and hang out with in Salt Lake City. I dance groups. I mean, we'd all hang out after dance practice. We'd get ready for our Greek festival. Our Minotauro dancers dance at the Greek festival every year. And yeah, just very close relationships. Salt Lake City's a big enough city where we have a lot of Greeks, but it's small enough where we all live close together. So most of Minotavros, we all live within like 15 or 20 minutes of each other. And so we went to the same high schools, we went to the same junior highs, we grew up with each other, like very much so. But then as I kind of got older, I went to the Las Vegas convention and there was an opportunity to run for a PYA board position, the cultural chair position, which I was very excited about. And I really loved my time as cultural chair. I'm a big politics history kind of person. And so when I saw the opportunity to do that, I jumped on it. And I was lucky enough to be elected as PYA cultural chair for the 2021-2023 term. And then I was reelected with my friend from Salt Lake City, Donny Katsanevis, as co-cultural chairs for this last term. And I've just had a really great time on the board. Um, from traveling to like board meetings, conferences, I've made friends from past boards. And there was an opportunity to run for president. And yeah, I've had great mentor presidents in the past, youth presidents, youth vice presidents. And so I wanted to first give back to the boards that kind of supported me and the community that supported me growing up, and to hopefully kind of continue that on for future generations.
It's great. And I can attest that, yes, your family has been involved for quite a few years since I've known quite a few of them. And it's wonderful to continue the legacy. I sort of find that as an important element of the things that I do as well. And I think a lot of people, that legacy is really important. Um, so back in 2022, which really wasn't that long ago, you attended the PAA excursion that we traveled to Crete with your family. And could you let the listeners know what that experience was like from you, and what did you sort of take away from that experience when you came back home?
Yeah, so that experience really impacted me in a lot of different ways. First off, I can't believe it's already been 3 years. It feels like it was last it was last summer. But Just traveling to different sites, to different Khoria, to different Glenya, to kind of see the like cultural differences between really across the island. Like my family comes from Hanya, so I that's kind of where we would always go. And so that was really the first opportunity that I had to travel the entire island. And just seeing the different museums, like I remember going to the Heraklion archaeological museum, which was very cool to see. Going to Spinalonga to go do the boat tour, all of that stuff I just found really interesting and things that I probably would never have done without the excursion. But on a more like interpersonal level, I met a lot of new friends at the excursion. One of them is on our board right now, Maria. We met at the excursion and kind of have talked since. I met my girlfriend at the excursion, which we started dating about a year after that excursion. And I really got to get closer with a whole bunch of my friends from Salt Lake City. Like a lot of them went to the excursion, so it was like the first time that we were all in Crete together, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, the excursion was a big monumental part, I think, of my life, I would say. Um, but really, just trips to Crete overall growing up were really monumental. Like, especially in my adult years or like coming into my adult years, going to Crete with my family has been really important because it's like the one time where all of us are just there together. Like, we have work, we have school. There's a lot of weeks where we like just don't even see each other, don't talk to each other. But when we're in Crete, we're like just there all day long. And we probably drive each other. Actually, we do drive each other crazy probably like 30% of the time. But the other part of the time, um, it's a lot of fun just being there together. My dad just likes renting a car and just driving to like different places just to kind of go see. So that's always fun. My mom was always big on museums. Like we would always go see museums or archaeological sites or something like that. So I think I just kind of grew up with that like cultural side of Crete, that I just kind of fell in love with.
That's wonderful. And kudos to your parents as well, for really,
Yeah.
bringing you guys on board, right? And really exposing you to so much and having that opportunity to bring you to Crete that summer. I would say what you just experienced, I think a lot of people experienced in 2022, but I think the kind of cool part about it also is that now when we're doing these experiences and events that we're doing in Crete, we're sort of modifying that whole big excursion, maybe downsizing it a little bit, but giving the opportunity to be, like you said, to share these experiences together in Crete, um, from people from all over the country, from the US and Canada and really everywhere. And I think that's just a great opportunity. You mentioned your passion for the Cretan culture. I know that you've been a dancer. Obviously, you have a passion for the music, for the history. So as you look ahead for the next 2 years, coming off of your time as being cultural chair, what have you, or what are you looking for with your two new cultural chairs, and some of the ideas that you guys have specifically about culture moving forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think culture is a very broad word, I think, and I think it encapsulates so much so that a lot of the work that the cultural chairs do can't even like get everything that our culture kind of like involves. But in my academic side, I'm a researcher that researches migration and identity and diaspora, and the way that I've come to understand diaspora is like a collection of different practices. So like it's how we practice being diaspora. And I think those practices, yes, are important for music and for dance and for Glendia, but I think there's so much more to it that I have kind of that's the things that have gotten me into our culture is more of like the food and the history. Like going back to traveling to Crete, I would spend time with my dear Roxanne in Halepa, and we would just go on walks, and she would kind of just point out like, oh, that's where so and so lived, and that's where so and so lived, and your grandfather was really good friends with that person, and that building was an Ottoman like an Ottoman office house back in the day, and that's where when the Germans occupied Crete, that's where the German headquarters were, and just like seeing that growing up in like kind of the everyday, like just hearing those stories, I think is what really had a bigger impact on me than the music and the dance. As much as I love the music and the dance. And like food, like we would go down to like uh, the little supermarket down at the corner of in Jalepa there to get graviera and olive oil, and like we would just sit on the balcony and just eat. And so I think that also like made the food, Cretan food is just like associated me with my Cretan American identity. And so yeah, I think with the cultural chairs, what we want to do, sorry, long story long, to answer your question, I think with the cultural chairs, what we want to do is um, make our dance and music programs as strong as we can, keep them strong because they are already strong, but expand in other directions. So something that I'm working with the cultural chairs right now is to create a podcast, similar to what you're doing, and that is to bring in like anybody and everybody that can speak on Crete, whether that's in diaspora or on the island. So like Cretan historians or Cretan musicians or people that are passionate about Cretan food, so on and so forth. To kind of talk about how the island relates to the certain things, certain practices that they engage with. So I think that's kind of our biggest thing going forward is kind of expressing that through podcasts because we are the the PYA is also dispersed across the nation. So we only have, we have an annual conference, but we only have like a day to kind of express ourselves all together. So I think like digital platforms like podcasts and stuff like that is just the way to do it while we're all kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, and I would be thrilled to see you guys take off on that because I do agree with you. I think there's so many great opportunities to talk more about um, our culture beyond the music and dance. I've written about my opportunities, and I'm trying to encourage you guys to consider it down the line. Is the opportunities I've been given to meet with archaeologists while I've been in Crete. And it's the same thing, I will walk around Hanya and look at sort of the same dig over and over. But God, when you walk with an archaeologist and look at that dig, it will blow your mind, right? We understand how long we've been, Cretans have been around forever, thousands and thousands of years. But to hear an expert talk about that and to hear this archaeologist in the Hanya area who was instrumental in getting Kithonia, Hanya, as part of UNESCO, right? Which is just a huge, it took her 11 years to get that thing passed through.
Wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know Kenya was part of UNESCO.
Yeah, just
Wow.
happened. And Knossos just happened. I mean, and these are people who look, they studied, they worked in the field, they've been in, the political side of Greece, working with culture and things like that and archaeology. But some of these people are just doing it out of the goodness of their heart as well, too, which is really
Yeah,
pretty spectacular. So it's like from one end of the island to the next, or to the other side where I've been to the other side on the Lasiti side, where they're doing this another incredible finds in Minoan and Byzantium and Hellenistic period and all this, and you're like, you just kind of your mind gets blown when you see that.
yeah,
And so I think that I strongly encourage you guys to do that and hope that people who are listening to this podcast will reach out to you and say, hey, what about this or what about that? Because I think that's just a great opportunity. I also want to salute the chapters. Last spring we did the dance workshop. I know your brother participated and a number of kids, not only from Salt Lake City, but we had over 60 kids from around the country who came to New York. Successful 3 days of a dance workshop, videotaped it, uploaded it. I'm watching it being viewed by hundreds of people because I don't, none of us can remember everything that's, we're taught
right.
in a second. But now Springfield is doing a music and dance workshop coming up in a couple of weeks, the weekend of October 11th and 12th, with the Viglatores, who happen to be coming to the East Coast. And then the Ammonia chapter is now doing a dance workshop with the Viglatores, which is phenomenal. And these are chapter-based events as part of, our culture. And I'd love to encourage more people to do that, right? If this sort of spurred
Yeah.
this on, and again, it's not just about the dance, but what was the beauty about the springtime when we did it in New York is the dance group that came, Psiloritis, they talked to the youth and to all of us about the history of these dances, right?
Yes.
Um, and hopefully, I know, I again, whatever we retained may not be able to be, said word for word, but now your brother, your friends, whoever can go online and say, oh my God, I remember that. Let me talk to the group about that. So,
Yeah, and my brother, I mean, kind of came back and mentioned some of those things. Like these are dances that we are, especially when we start dancing them when we're like, what, 11, 12, 13. We don't really know what we're dancing. We're just like told to do the step and, but there's so much meaning behind the dances that we dance, like so much symbolic meaning of like resistance and like, facing against the Ottoman Empire and like all these layers of history that like just our dances have. And I remember my brother came back and he had like a whole bunch of facts. He's like, actually, did you know that this dance is and but it was cool because like again like I couldn't name it word for word, but he has it now and he's teaching dance now. So I think it's just like spreading that kind of culture like from the national level to the local level is cool. And I didn't know about Springfield. That's cool. I'll have to
yeah,
like
yeah, that's
put it out
coming
to
up. It's on
everybody.
our website and also on our Facebook pages for anybody who wants to participate. There's actually one here in District 6 in California, open to everybody. It's coming up at the end of September. And again, it's a dance workshop, and I'm sure they're going to talk about the history and the music. So it's spreading. And so kudos again to you guys for using the social media tools to really spread the word and to educate people. So I just think that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I've had a glimpse into your agenda from the Kriti magazine in terms of what you would like to do going forward. So do you want to give us kind of a brief outline of what you hope to achieve in the next 2 years?
Yeah, for sure. So I think I'll kind of talk about like our three main goals as a board that we've kind of established. And the first one is to revitalize smaller chapters. I know there's a lot of chapters that either were chapters in the past, have a Korean community but don't have a youth chapter, or kind of had a chapter and people have moved away, or kind of just the organization has kind of just dwindled a little bit. So I think part of one of the goals, one of the part of this first goal is to kind of revitalize them and say, put a board together. Like how we're here for you. Like that's what our board is here to do. That's what our West Coast and East Coast VPs are here to do. So if you are listening and you do have a small chapter that you want revitalized, reach out, because sometimes it's hard for us to know who on the ground in a local place is kind of active and promoting the youth in a city. So uh yeah, so that's our first goal. The second goal is to reach out to members at large and make sure that they have either a chapter that they can kind of talk with, or know about local events. I know there's a lot of places that maybe people live that are close to a chapter, but they don't have a chapter in their home city. So like going with the small chapter revitalization kind of goal. If that doesn't happen, how can we incorporate those youth members into a chapter nearby, or just at large, so they know about events and so they can still participate without having a chapter? Because I think um, we have large memberships in cities that have active chapters, and I think everybody else kind of gets pushed to the side a little bit. So that's kind of the first two goals. The um, well, actually, I have four. We have four goals. The third goal is to make sure that the board is not we're not dictators of the PYA. I've said that to many people, especially after the election. Like all we do is we're just like elected representatives for our youth. So if somebody has an idea or somebody has something that they want to do, if they have an organization in Crete that they want to engage with, um, like that's what we're here to do. Is just be the facilitators, be the communicators for that. And then lastly, our last goal is to try to, I mean, we're calling it like internationalizing, like we've talked about this a little bit, but reach out to Canadian chapters to kind of bring them back in. And with the World Council of Cretans convention that's happening next summer, we want to connect with other Cretan youth organizations in Australia and Europe, not to combine as like a big organization, but just to acknowledge each other. And, like if we're both in Crete at the same time, we can just see each other, or we all have this like shared Cretan American experience. So might as well connect with them. So those are kind of our four goals. But again, I'd love to hear from, if youth are listening to this, which I hope you are, uh, what you want our goals to be and any ideas that you have for our board.
I think that's terrific. Um, I think, the next question I sort of talked about was membership, and I think you've kind of talked about that in terms of how you're trying to, which we all do as a PAA and PYA, is see how we obviously we want to continue to grow and engage our members. And I think the direction you're talking about is really, really important. And thank you for doing that. I also think that you guys are really using social media in a really effective way. So, and again, if anyone's listening to this and has other ideas, reach out to the team and let them know, because I think that's really important. The reason,
Yeah, and
yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, talking about social media, shout out to our PR chair, Maria. She has been phenomenal. She's been great with our social media and just has done really interactive stuff that I think, like you said, has just been great. But anyway, keep going. I think I cut you off there.
No, no, not at all. I think what I wanted to say is that exactly that is that you guys have really kind of been really going to the forefront of trying to, really communicate. And it was you and I think John, the former Nichols, the former social media person, who basically said, "Hey, Diane, why don't you get on Spotify? That might be more appealing." And I thought, you know what? Why don't I give it a shot? So again, I appreciate your forward thinking on that. You have a new board. Do you want to
Yes.
mention who they are and the best way to sort of reach out to you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just start with the best way to reach out to us. I think the best way to reach out to us is just to go on pancretin.org and go to our PYA tab. All of our emails are listed there. Um, or if you read the Kriti magazine, our emails and our phone numbers are also listed in the youth section of the Kriti magazine. So I think that is the best way to reach out to any of us. But I'll just kind of name our board list by list. So our East Coast Vice President is Dimitri Skubaki from New York. Our West Coast Vice President is John Nichols from Salt Lake City. Treasurer is Maria Gonidis from South Florida. General Secretary is Adoni Kalogridis from New Jersey. Fundraising Chair is Dimitri Kara from New Jersey as well. PR Chair, who I just mentioned earlier, is Maria Klostraki from Sacramento. And then our two co-cultural chairs are Adoni Katsanevis and Vasiliki Rusakis. Our two IT chairs are George Kuretas from the Bay Area and my brother Themi Kambouris from Salt Lake City. Our creator is George Jidzika from Sacramento, but he just moved to Boston for seminary school, I heard. So where he's going to be our next priest, our Cretan American priest. And then our philanthropic chairs are Yanni and Apostoli Hillis from Sacramento, or from Salt Lake City, sorry. And then our two youth advisors, which are always shout out to Olga and Tasia. Olga Markoyanakis is the East Coast Youth Advisor, and Tasia Manasakis is the West Coast. So we really have a great board, and I'm very fortunate that we have a board that's very interactive. Like I'll text in our group chat, or I'll put out an idea, and everybody responds really fast with ideas and is on board with it. And we're having our board meeting in Denver this fall with the PAA, of course. And when I mentioned it, everybody just was jumped on it right away and was super excited. So just like having that passion, I think is helpful as a president. So couldn't do it without the board for sure.
Well, and we're really excited that we're going to be having the whole youth board in Denver as well for the board meeting, which is going to be the weekend of November 7th. So for anybody who wants to come on out, please join us in Denver. It'll be an incredible weekend, and we're looking forward to supporting the chapters out there as well. Um, could you briefly tell us a little bit about the fundraiser that you guys have sort of set forth right now that is a program
Yeah.
you guys are doing?
Yeah, so we're working with the philanthropic chairs, Yanni Apostoli, and our treasurer Maria, who recommended. So we were discussing, how we wanted to get involved philanthropically, and we were saying how it's frustrating sometimes when you donate money and you don't know what it's going to, and we said that philanthropy is much more than just money, and we want to have something on the ground where youth can go to create and volunteer in like whatever capacity that is. So we thought to get that started, because there's so many organizations out there. There's like we compiled a list where there's like 10 organizations that we could go volunteer for, but that was kind of overwhelming. So we are like, okay, we're going to take a step back and we're going to partner with just one organization. for both fundraising and for like on the ground philanthropic efforts. And our treasurer, Maria Gonides from South Florida, her family works with and is kind of in charge of this organization in Irakio called PKO. And what PKO is it's a monastery, but it's also a women's shelter and an orphanage, like a girls' orphanage. And so um, whether it's from abuse or just lack of resources or death, whatever it is, there's a shelter for these girls, women and girls to go to. And so so this year we have a collaboration with the PYA and PKO. What we want to do is fundraise. Our goal is $15,000 within the 1 year mark. And what they need is a new van to transport people or goods or whatever it is from the monastery to the city or to schools and so on and so forth. So we are hoping that we have enough money, which is we estimated around $15,000 to purchase a new van for PKO. If we don't reach our $15,000 and we can't buy the van, then our plan B option is to buy they need a new washing machine, they need a new refrigerator, and they need just some products in general, like smaller products. So that's kind of our plan B. That's the fundraising side of our partnership. The philanthropic side, which I guess that's philanthropic too, but the on the ground philanthropic side is to do a week-long service activity next summer with PKO. So we're hoping that, and we're going to get more details out probably at the beginning of 2026 about this, but we're hoping that we can get a smaller, medium-ish group of youth to go spend time at Adagio, maybe like 5, 6, 7 days, um, and just help out, whether that's painting. Maria mentioned that some rooms need to be repainted, just some handy stuff around the orphanage, and really just kind of just hanging out, being there, seeing it, interacting, knowing that the PYA, for them to know that the PYA is there for them, and for us to appreciate the work that they do as a Cretan organization. So I think that's kind of our big collaboration for the year. And shout out to Yanina Apostoli, who's kind of spearheaded it, and Maria, who spearheaded the spearhead. But yeah, I'm really excited for that.
And if people want to donate to help your goal, how can people do that?
So we have all of our donations right now through Venmo. So they're going to our Pancretan Youth Association Venmo. You can find our Venmo information on our Instagram or on in the Kriti magazine, and we're hoping to get it on the website here soon. But if you want to donate right away, um, you can find that in the Kriti magazine, like I said, or on our Instagram. And really, any amount that you want to donate is more than welcome, even if it's $1. I mean, if we have 500 people donate $1, that's $500. So, uh, make coffee at home next week and donate $10 to our collaboration.
And this is Panagia Kaliviani, correct? This is
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, Kalimiani.
Yeah, and I actually got a chance to go there this summer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've, as they say, boots on the ground. So, an extremely worthwhile charity, one that the PAA has been supporting for quite a few years. So, really excited to see, again, not only the fundraising side of it, but also that you guys want to get really involved and participate. So, I think that's been something that we've been talking about, and I'm really glad you guys are looking at spearheading that.
What
Just
was
great.
your experience like there? Like I've never been. I've just kind of been hearing, what their mission is from Maria, really.
Yeah, yeah, it's really fantastic. And so kudos again to all of you for doing that.
Yeah.
Um, we're getting towards the end of the podcast, but I wanted to give you a few minutes to tell us about the upcoming winter conference in New York City in 2026.
Yeah, so 2026 January, let's see, I need to make sure I get the dates correct. 11th through the 8th through the 11th of January 2026. It's hosted by the Lavdis New York chapter, youth chapter, and they are doing a fantastic job. I am very excited for the conference. They're planning some really interesting events. The day event, we're going to Manhattan to go see the St. Nicholas Shrine all together. They're organizing that so we can get a tour. Um, and yeah, very excited. We really hope to see you there. And don't be shy if you feel like you don't have anybody to go with, or you need a roommate or whatever it is, just reach out to us because you're not the only person that needs a roommate or doesn't know if they want to go or not, or all of that stuff. And there will be reimbursements, PYA reimbursements like we usually do. So if financial constraints are any problem for any youth, also let us know. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that and hoping that you can be there.
I know that they're really excited and they're working on getting the signups available on our website pretty soon. Just waiting for that information. It should be out there really soon. So I like Costa, I really encourage you. You don't need to know a lot of people, but you'll walk away with 50 to 100 new friends.
Yeah.
I I saw that this summer when a young girl came from Idaho to the convention and knew absolutely no one, and at the end was ready to start a chapter in Idaho. So you've got
Oh,
someone you can follow up with out
well,
there.
there you go.
Yeah,
There's our new chapter right there.
exactly, exactly. So the potential is there. Um, in your final words, what would you like to say to the youth out there?
Just thank you for trusting me with our organization. I'm really excited for what we can do, and it's really not just me. It's not really just our board. There's so much that we talked about just in this meeting that we need all of the youth to participate in. And so, yeah, please reach out if you have any ideas or you want to get involved. Just because you're not on the board doesn't mean that you don't have input in our organization. So I think that'd be my bigger theme.
Well, I think it's fantastic. Would love to have you back on sometime, maybe after the winter conference. We can talk a little bit more about the summer programs, which would be fantastic to give everybody a little bit more information. So again, my name is Diane Kunalakis. I want to thank Kostas Kambouris, who is the PYA president for the next 2 years. I'm really looking forward to working with you. This is our PAA Talks. Again, brought to you by Creta Authentica, and we thank you for joining us, and we look forward to the next PAA Talks.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Diane. It was an honor.